Hey Google, play some music.
Hey there, listeners. Welcome back to the Google Stadia Show, episode 4, titled Stadia Connect. I'll be your host this evening, joined by my many friends in streaming land. We've got Jared, he's back for another round. We've got Devin, he's back for another round. And we've brought Nathan on this episode. How you doing, Nate? How you doing, buddy?
I am doing... This is like my first podcast in a while, it feels like.
Yeah, I was like, I used to podcast with you.
Over in the Xbox Empire land. But yeah, I'm doing good. Good to be here with you guys. Excited to talk a little bit about the future of gaming. Where it's all heading. There's no stopping it now.
Future's upon us. All right, guys. So this is what we've been waiting for. We talked about it last episode. Talk about Google's going to come. They're going to talk. We're going to have some noise. They're going to say things for E3. They said June, and boy, did they. Rumors began to circulate last week. Hey, I believe Liam Robertson was the first one, I'm pretty sure. He said, hey, Google is going to host an event next week. And the weekend passed, and like Monday came through. We're like, maybe not. And then bam, Stadia Connect. I love this, by the way. Listen here, Nintendo fan. Love this. Stadia Connect, short, concise presentation, Thursday at noon. We all gather around to watch it. So we've got the news. It launches in November. Finally have a launch date with pricing. I've got these two different types of bundles. Let's read through some of the details before I open it up for discussion. Stadia Pro, $9.99 a month, 4K, 60 frames per second, select library of games, but you can also buy games individually from a library. Pro members may receive select discounts from that library. That's the program that launches this year, 2019 November. You get Stadia Pro. Stadia Base, coming at a date to be determined later, sometime in the next year, 2020. It's free. You just get to use it, but you have to buy the games right off the store shelf. So any game you buy goes into your library, and then you can stream it as much as you want to for no additional cost. Gentlemen, what do we think about the pricing?
I think it's great. I mean, they could have made it more expensive, but I think $10 for all the bells and whistles is good. But if you just want to buy your games and you're fine with 1080 60, which it probably is for most people, you don't have to buy a box or a powerful computer, PC. You can just use your phone, tablet, whatever you got. So I think it's pretty great. Maybe you want to buy the controller, so you're looking at an entry cost of $70 and you're good.
Nathan, since you're new here, what do you think of the pricing?
I like it. Basically, it is Xbox Live for Google or PS Plus for Google, pretty much. Because that's the closest analogy you're going to get. Because you have a game that's included with your Pro subscription. You get the extra features, as you said, and you can choose your name. You don't have an appended number after your name. So in my mind, this is basically just their version of the service charge that you would pay anywhere else.
I would agree with that. Those are basically my thoughts surmised. Devin?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with both Jared and Nate. I mean, it's $10. You get a game and other games to be determined. You get all the bells and whistles that you would normally get with a PS Plus or Xbox Live service. I think the pricing is good, especially for what they're going to be giving you as far as quality is concerned. So I'm really good with it. And like you said, the free base 1080p 60 is more than most people will need, because most people are used to 1080 30. So I think that's great. And whatever games you want to play, you get them and boom, you're good to go wherever you want to play.
Let me ask you a question, because I've got a little confusion on this part. The games that you get in the Pro, do you own them? Like if you stop being a Pro member, can you still play them in base?
That would be, it's like PS Plus or Xbox Live Gold. If you stop subscribing, you lose access.
You don't have it. So my next question is, does the library continually grow, or do they pull games out?
During Stadia Connect, they said that they will continually add games. They didn't say they would take them away, but it's very likely that they will. But we don't know for sure. We just know that they're going to grow it. It might lose games like any other service.
Okay. They confirmed devices, at least launch devices. So you're going to be able to play on your TV, which we've already known. You have to have a Chromecast Ultra, which is included in the bundle. We're going to get to that. You play on your desktop, play on a laptop, basically anything that runs a Chrome browser, your tablets. Phones are limited to just the Pixel phone at launch.
I wanted to clarify this because I watched the Stadia Connect again, and they said, they brought up Chromecast Ultra, they brought up the desktop, laptop, tablets, any of those that run the Chrome browser. And then they said, or you can play on the Pixel phones with the Stadia app. Now, I don't know if that means that they're just talking about only the Pixel phones are getting the app at launch, but you could still like pull out your iPhone, open a Chrome browser, and maybe still play.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point.
Unless somehow the mobile Chrome on phones is different and won't allow it. But because they specifically said that Pixel 3 phones will use the Stadia app.
Project Stream, you were not able to open up your app on a Chrome browser or just on a tablet. It had to be a desktop or a laptop. So it could be a similar sort of impediment there that they just put in there just to limit that experience from a mobile browser.
I would expect that to be the same too, because I mean, all these different devices, they all run different versions of Chrome, the browser, and I wouldn't expect to just have native support across all. They would have said that. I think they would have mentioned that.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe for the phones, but they definitely said desktop, laptop, and tablets with the Chrome browser.
Sure.
They said that specifically. The phones, it might be different. Maybe the app scales the game somehow, so it's better on a smaller screen.
They said more phones to be added later. And they did go over their internet requirements, which probably might be like the highlight of the show, or at least the thing that I think is sticking. You're seeing it circulate. They had a really nice graphic at the level of quality that you could expect based on your internet speed. If you got 35 megabits per second or higher, you can, according to Google, you can go 4K 60 picture quality in Stadia. And if you go all the way down to 10, which is the lowest that they showed, you can still run 720. So 720, 60 frames per second, 10 megabits per second. And I think it was a very simple graphic. I like that. It was very simple to understand. You just look at it, and that's what graphics are supposed to do. You know, they didn't go through all this different net code and all the things that we've been seeing of the I/O and everything. Like, this is very easy to understand. And they even have a system test. If you're interested, you can go to stadia.com. You can do a speed test right there, and they'll tell you, like, hey, this is what you can expect from Stadia if you're choosing to do this. So devices, internet requirements. What do you guys think? They're launching this whole thing. I'll just say this because I've got a lot of things I want to say once we get through all these details. But the promise of this was, device agnostic. It runs everywhere. We want to be everywhere. For them to come out and launch only on their own phones and not even just Android, I feel like it's a bit of a miss. I would have liked to have seen them open up more because we've been talking about it on the 3 previous shows that we've had. A lot of this and a lot of people that this could potentially reach is mobile. It's phones. Like people are traveling with their phones. It's been a lot of things we've been talking about in our Discord. Like, hey, like the Switch you can't take with you like on the phone, and you can't take, you can't go to all these different places. I think isolating yourselves to just the Pixel 3. I mean, I don't even have the Pixel 3. Like, I own all these different Google devices. So like even I won't be able to play on a phone right away. So I was hoping for a little bit more.
So I think with the phone thing is because of the fact that the Pixel is going to launch with Marshmallow. I think it has to do with just apps and the way they get approved. Like, it may take more to get that app approved in the iTunes store. Like, it may not be, approved right now, but I assume it is probably going to come much closer to launch and be like, yes, and you can play it on iOS 13 or whatever their newest version is, because the app has to get certified. And I think it's the same way with the Pixel phones. They're going to always be running the latest version of Android,
sure,
where everything else takes a lot longer to catch up based on mainly the carrier is usually what holds back how long before they're going to roll out whatever version of Android is latest. So I think that's the issue with that. I think they've made it so that it's going to be on Marshmallow. It probably can't run as well on the other versions of Android. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that's holding up the phones is just getting the app through certifications for all the different versions of Android and iOS.
I mean, we all know it'll all come. I was expecting it to. Yeah, I'm going to save that. Yes, other devices will come.
They confirmed that. They said that other devices will come. As far as the Chrome browser on Android, for phones, is very similar, but on iOS, Chrome is not Chrome. It's a skin on top of Safari because Apple doesn't allow you to just make your own internet browser. So you might have some hurdles there. iOS might be limited until they get the app there. I also think it's important to mention that with the 35 megabits per second, not only is it 4K 60, but you also get HDR and 5.1 surround sound. So if you've got all the bells and whistles on your entertainment system, you're not really sacrificing anything.
They'll tell you. I wonder if there'll be visual and audio cues when your picture loads up to tell you, hey, like on the Xbox, when you load up something in HDR, it tells you, this is now in HDR, this is 4K. I wonder if they'll do the same.
I was going to make a point about the 5.1. I would have liked to have seen them talk a little bit about more about the spatial audio. I know they're going to support it, but I would like to have them talk a little more about how that will is that going to be? It's going to have to be compressed to stream, so it's not going to be the full good sound that you would get out of the other entertainment centers that are available now. But it's still going to be better than nothing. I think that's going to be a cool thing to see. But Donnie, to your point on the launching everywhere, they want to launch at their home first. So they're launching on their apps, on their platforms, and they want to control the experience for these first people that are playing. They want them to play the way that they intend before they open the gates. So that way, when they launch it out, the press or the people playing aren't bad-mouthing it because they're playing on a non-specific system. So if they're playing on the way that they intend it to be played and not like on everybody's browser of choice or tablet of choice or phone of choice or whatever, if they can control that a little bit better, then their launch rollout and that word of mouth is more positive.
During the video, they really pushed the controller because they said this is the best way to play on Stadia.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, you can use other devices, but if you want the best experience, buy the controller. So I think that's a good point that they are trying to control how the message is out there once people start playing. Wanted to bring up one point. I'm looking at the Stadia FAQ right now, and it pretty much confirms that the Stadia app will be both on Android and iOS at launch, but only the Pixel 3 will actually be able to play with that. So if you have an iPhone, you can still set up the controller with the Stadia app, but you just won't be able to play on it at launch.
I was just hoping for a little more Android support. Honestly, I'm just bringing it up to really kind of make a point. As I mentioned in our Discord, I was never really going to play on my phone anyway. I don't think the idea of taking a game that's built for TVs and putting it on a phone, I don't care how much things you do to it, it's probably not going to be that fantastic. I do some mobile development. It's really hard to shrink a 23-inch screen down to a 3-inch screen.
I'm sure Life is Strange will play just fine on your smart device.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, is it that much different than the Switch? I mean, I'm looking at my phone now.
I don't have a giant grandma phone, so no, I don't carry a tablet in my pocket.
That's your first mistake.
As you mentioned, they did announce the controllers, and they announced how we're going to be able to buy this. All right. To play Google Stadia in 2019, you were forced to get the Founders Edition bundle. This bundle comes with your controller, your Founders Edition controller. It's dark navy blue with orange accents. It comes with 3 months of Stadia Pro, 3 months of a buddy pass that you can give to a friend. So that's what you have to have. You either have to have your pass, or you've got to get a buddy pass from somebody and buy another controller, which we'll get into in a minute. Pre-orders went live immediately after the event. It also comes with a Chromecast Ultra in the box. So you get the box, you get everything you need to play Stadia. You get immediate access, you get Destiny 2, the full version, the newest expansion. Devin, when does the expansion drop?
September 17th.
So you get a 2-month-old expansion, Destiny 2, and everything that comes before it. You get to plug in your Chromecast Ultra, you get to pair your controller, and you get to play Destiny 2 right away. That's what you're getting out of this bundle. What is it, 130?
Yeah,
129. $29.99. Jared did do some sleuthing, and he found out that you can get your separate controller by adding the bundle to the cart, and in which that gives you the opportunity to buy a controller, and then you add the controller to the cart and you remove the bundle. I mean, we're going to answer this question, but I got the bundle. I didn't really want it. I wanted the controller because I wanted the specific controller that I wanted. There is a way to do it. It just gets a little mashy. It's not there right away.
Yeah, when you do that way where you remove the bundle, there's like a little warning that pops up. It's like, don't buy the controller unless you know you're going to get a buddy pass.
Yep. And it threw me for just a quick loop because I really wanted the controller that I wanted. And they showed these 3 controllers this entire time. They've been banking on buying this controller. And then they're like, you can't play it unless you buy this other controller. I wasn't particular. I was like, wait a minute. I wanted this other controller. I wish they would have let you. I don't understand why they didn't let you pick.
See, and that's what makes me believe that the Pro subscription will not be at launch. Like, it's not going to be ready in November for people to just sign up and start playing. I feel like, because it specifically says that founders will have first early access to Stadia, and I think that's what November is. So that's why they don't sell it piecemeal with the controllers. Like, you can't just buy a controller, because I don't think you can just buy a controller and then come November just sign up for the Pro subscription.
100%. And it goes back to what Nathan just said. They're going to control the group that gets in here first. And you're not just going to be able to like pick up and play Stadia. Like I think a lot of us, I know Devin, you'd assume you're like, I'm just going to plug my controller in and play. You will be able to, maybe in like March or something. This is a soft launch. I mean, that's what this is. This is a beta test. As an early, like we're the inaugural group that are going to jump in here. I wasn't. I never like when you're forced to buy things you don't want. I'm in that weird. No, I know this is like super minute customer, but I'm in that weird group that I already have Chromecast Ultras everywhere. I didn't want to buy another one. I was like, I have no need for this. I don't want to buy another one. I didn't necessarily want to buy Pro, and I didn't want the controller that was coming in the bundle. I wanted a different controller. So like this bundle's not really doing much for me at all. But the reason we'll answer the question there. What do you guys think about this Founders Edition?
I'm good with it. It's just like buying a new console. You get the black controller. I never want the black controller. I want a colored controller. But when you buy the console at launch,
there are other controllers like on the store, and when you buy the one you don't want, they're like, "Here's the one you do want."
No,
it's not like you buy another console. That's not how consoles launch.
It is. You buy a console and you have the option to buy another color controller, but you're going to get that black one first. It just doesn't bother me at all. It's like, That's the bundle. That's what you buy. So cool. I think the pricing is really good. Yes, I understand. Yes, you have several Chromecasts. I don't have a Chromecast. A lot of people don't. But again, I look at it as this is the same as if you were to go out and buy a new console. This is what you're getting in that bundle. So for me, it doesn't bother me at all. I do understand that it would be nice to be able to piecemeal things together. I'd like to be able to just subscribe to Pro and plug in my controller that I have already, because I don't plan on really playing anywhere but sitting at my computer, to be perfectly honest. So I understand that frustration. It would be nice to be able to piecemeal everything together. But if this is what they're giving you at launch, I mean, I think it's a good deal. So I don't have any issues with it.
So as far as the pricing goes, I think the pricing is spot on to where it should be.
It's good.
It gives you a little bit of a discount probably compared to buying the stuff piecemeal. So you buy your controller and your Ultra separately, and then 3 months of the subscription. But it's only $30 more than a PS Classic, so it's not too bad. When we look at the fine print though of the Founders Edition, I thought these were interesting points to bring out. I don't know if you had them on the docket to bring up, but if you live in Hawaii or in Guam, you can't have Stadia. And with the Buddy Pass, it says it will be sent within 6 months of delivery of your Founders Edition.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So you may not be playing in November with your buddy. You could be playing in March.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, just a couple points. I was reading the fine print there, but
it's because if your buddy doesn't have Stadia and they're only letting people with the Pro Founder stuff play, then how are they going to play?
I remember the email said that it has an expiration.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they're thinking about. You'll hold on to it for a little bit.
Well, I think they make it. They say Buddy Pass will be sent within 6 months of delivery of your Founders Edition. I think that's just kind of covering themselves in case something happens and they're not able to get the codes out right away. So it says that it expires 1 year after you receive it. So let's say you get your Buddy Pass in 5 months. You have a year from that date to give it to somebody to use.
I'm fully expecting my Buddy Pass to arrive with my stuff.
Yeah, I would expect that as well. I think the 6 months is just to cover themselves.
Yeah, because with a service like this, if the launch goes poorly and things break, you just got to give yourself a little bit of time to pivot. I actually really like the color of the controller, so I don't know what you guys' problem is. I think it's a nice color.
Are you a Bears fan?
I like it a lot too.
I mean, I am in Illinois, so me and Mo will be rocking this controller, I think.
Sure.
But I think that it's a good package. I have an old Chromecast I never use. It's like one of the originals. So I needed to get an Ultra anyway, and I think they sell for like $70 on their own. And the controller, I think, is supposed to retail for about $72.
So
yeah.
Before we get Jared, do you want me to say anything about just the offering before we? I'm gonna hit this question next. Let's get this out of the way now.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I think it's a good deal. They said $300 value you get for $130. You get the Chromecast Ultra, which I don't have. I just have like the regular new edition of the Chromecast because the TV that it's in is not a 4K TV, so I've never had a need for it. But if I'm gonna get one with the bundle, cool. I think the controller is awesome. I get why they don't let you choose another controller because this is exclusive to the Founders. They're not going to sell it separately at a later time. So this is like hey, I'm an early access Stadia user.
So special, my controller's blue. I'm better than you.
Yeah, blue and orange, whatever. You get your first choice at a username, so that's pretty cool, being able to pick if you've got a certain branding you want to stick with. One thing I wanted to note is because I hear a lot of people saying that Destiny 2 and having full access is going to come with the Pro subscription. I don't know if I believe that. In the video, they said gamers who buy the Founders Edition will get it. They don't say that anyone who subscribes at Pro will also get it. So I think that's where they're getting the $300 value. You get the $70 controller.
They're taking the retail for Destiny 2, and every expansion that's ever come out there. Yeah, that 300's that's a bit of a stretch.
Well, I don't know.
It totally is.
70 for the Chromecast, that's 140. Then you got $60 worth of Pro, so that's 200. So $100 for Destiny. I mean, it's not too bad. What's $40?
It's $10 and $30 for Pro. You're counting your Buddy Pass too?
Well, yeah,
in beta,
you're paying for it.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I just want to make it clear that I don't think that like 6 months after it launches, you sign up for the Pro that you're going to get Destiny. I think that's exclusive for Founders.
Sure. No, I think you're spot on right there. All right, so we got a question. Came from Anthony Talcott, and he wants to ask us, did you pick up the Founders Edition? Why or why not? And this will really kind of kick us into some discussion, which I want to get out of the news. I want to get all the news out of the way. Let's get actually talking about it. And I'll start. Yeah, I got the Founders Edition. I originally didn't. I originally pre-ordered a controller, and I wanted to get a Buddy Pass off of one of the fine gentlemen here. When you buy the controller separately with shipping, everything, and taxes, it's almost $80. Really doesn't make any sense to buy the controller by itself right now, and I think that's intentional. It's intentional because they want you to buy this bundle. So I just bought the bundle with the intention that I'm just going to sell off the stuff that I don't use or give it away. I was thinking I could give the Chromecast to a family member or something like that. I don't know. But thanks to Hero Shade, my hero, he said, man, I will totally swap you controllers. And he was even interested in the Chromecast, in which I told him, you buy the controller I want, I'll give you the Chromecast. You just have it. You pay for shipping. We'll make this work. So I'm excited. I'm excited about it. I don't mind the Founders Edition. I don't have an issue with it. I'm a little upset that that everything is bundled, and you're basically being forced. If you want to get into this early access, this beta test, you're basically forced to go this way, and I don't like that. This whole thing has been about options this whole time. We don't really have options. We don't have an option at all. And then I think in addition to this, like this soft launch, it's limited to just these founders. Like nobody else can get in, and it's not. I don't think it's like an adequate stress test of the system. And I understand exactly the points you made, Nathan, but like this whole thing leading up from the announcement to IO to this, like I had been expecting like, all right, we're going to get a new launch here. We're going to see people. And the little upsetting part is that this base, is still further down the road. So like in my mind, Stadia is really not launching in 2019. We may have access to it and we may be able to give you some early impressions on it, but the Stadia that we know today, I don't think will be the Stadia this time next year. Because it sounds like they still have some things to do, like some things that they're being ironed out and things are being worked on. And we're talking about this pro value. I'm going to let everybody else answer the question first. Devin, did you get a Founders Edition and why?
No, I didn't, because I don't have $130 to buy a Founders bundle, one. And two, because honestly, I have a PC that does mostly what I want it to do. And I'm not the play it wherever person. Like I don't play video games on my television. I play them all on a monitor. So I just don't know if I need Stadia, but I heard something today on a podcast that made me think, crap, I might want to just go ahead and jump in. And it has to do with dedicated servers. And it's really weird. It's totally abstract. And of course it ties into Destiny. Destiny PvP is the absolute worst because it's all client based. You connect to some other person playing the game and they're the host. With Stadia, you won't have that issue because everything is running from Stadia. So you connect to Stadia. That game is hosted on Stadia. So you have way less latency. You don't have people ghosting around the map and stuff like that. So just the idea of a much smoother online gameplay experience makes me think this might just be the way to play. So we'll see if I happen to find $130 lying around somewhere and get my phone.
That is interesting. It's interesting to know.
Good point. Earlier Nathan mentioned about kind of this being like Xbox Live and PSN with paying the $10 a month. But if you opt for the base version, the free, you don't have to pay to play online. You just buy a game and now you've got
huge
Stadia. Like
it's massive.
I didn't think about, but yeah, that's pretty big. You can literally just buy a game and play it.
I'm going to let everybody answer the question. Jared, did you get the Founders Edition and why?
I currently have not purchased it, but that's because I'm trying to add it to my Google Store card, but for some reason it's not on my account. But I will be buying it for sure, probably within the next couple of days.
What about you, buddy, Nathan?
I did. I think that's probably one of the first ones on our little Discord that pulled the trigger. I got it because I'm a techie. I like to see like the Wi-Fi controller. That's new. That's a new piece of tech. I want to see how that works. Just seeing how this whole between whatever Microsoft does with the Project X Cloud and what Stadia does, what the two compare like. I want to see that in firsthand and be able to really talk about it eloquently, and be able to just jump in on the ground floor or something, get my gamer tag, the one I have everywhere that I'll try to get there right away. And I think that I needed the Ultra. I wanted the controller, and the price made sense to me. So I pulled the trigger. I thought it was good. I mean, I don't really care about Destiny. I'm sorry, Dev. I know that's like your church, but I'm okay. I'm not gonna fight you there. I do have Destiny on the Xbox, and I have all the expansions, but I don't play it. I don't know what it is about it. Destiny 2 just didn't grab me. The first Destiny did. I loved the first Destiny. So those are kind of the reasons why I wanted just to hop in on the ground floor. And I'm an early adopter. I mean, I know I'm kind of the guinea pig a lot of times, and I'm one of the people that can kind of help troubleshoot, maybe provide feedback, and try to help the overall product as a whole. But that's kind of why.
Yeah, I guess I didn't answer the why part. I just said whether I'm going to get it or not.
Yeah, you did. You don't have the money in your Google account.
But I will be buying it within the next couple of days. But much like Nathan, I'm very much a early adopter. I love getting on the ground floor, and I am obsessed with Google. I've bought every Pixel phone, every Nexus phone, every Google product that they have. I buy. I love jumping in on the ground floor. I understand what I'm getting into.
Yep.
And I think the Founders Edition, while if you want early access, you're kind of forced to buy it. But I think it is a great value for the money, because even if you don't like Destiny, even if you don't care about the username, I mean, just the controller and the Ultra alone, you're saving $10 if you were to buy those at MSRP. So I think it's great. And if you want to get on the ground floor, they could have made it much more expensive, but I think they did a good deal with the pricing.
Yeah, don't get it twisted. I too like to early adopt and get on the ground floor, and I definitely, if I had $130, I would just bought it. It wouldn't have been a no-brainer.
No, I'm with you guys. I got Connect and all the other peripherals and cast-offs and spin-offs. I like testing stuff out with you, so I'm with you. And the really nice thing about this bundle and this opportunity, and the thing I've been telling people on Twitter, is it's pretty cheap. I mean, all things considered, you're talking about $130 expense. You get to try something out for the very first 3 months, not that day, that weekend. For 3 months, you get to play something. That's really not that bad. Your worst case scenario, it all goes out and it goes the way of Google Allo and everything else. Like, you still have a Chromecast. You could still use that and play that. It's really not that bad of a deal. You still have a controller that you can plug into your PC or plug into your Chromebook it's really not. It's a pretty decent deal.
And you're not buying a $500 console to have 0 games at launch, except for parties.
There's not a ton of risk involved with this thing, so that is really nice. All right. So I wanted to get through all of the news and all the details, get all through all the bullet points, and actually let's talk about this thing, because I've got some things that I want to say. And I guess I'll be your guys' foil a little bit and let you guys try to persuade me or sway my opinion. I'm a little upset that the free version's not there at launch. I am. I wanted more players to play. This whole time we've been talking about it, Devin's been talking about it. I can't wait to get it. I'm just going to plug my controller into the PC. It's a talking point that they've been talking about. Oh, we're going to support all of your controllers, even Nintendo Switch controllers. It will, just like it will do iPhone, just like it's still, this unveiling was their moment. This was their first impression. This was their big day, and it's continuing to be a come talk to us later thing. And I'm getting it doesn't seem ready. And that's why this is like a soft launch and a beta, because it's not, in my opinion. I just don't think it's ready. And that's fine. I understand it. I'm not killing it on arrival. I'm still excited for it. I still can't wait to play it. Don't get me wrong. I just was expecting a little bit more because it's Google, to be quite honest with you. I was expecting Google and all of their computing power and all of their prowess to really step in here and make a splash. I don't think they made a splash at all. I think they barely made a ripple. And if you weren't considering Stadia before, I don't think this made you consider it at all, going forward. So what do you guys think about that?
I totally get where you're coming from. I mean, I don't know how much of a difference it really would have made, because pretty much everyone I've seen who doesn't like Stadia is never going to like it because they don't want to stream their games.
Let me ask you this. The free version, the base version, and I think I said this on one of our previous podcasts, I was really excited to let people try it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that there is now. Now there's a $130 like wall in front of you to try it. And while I still don't think it's much of a risk, like I was still interested. I thought people would try it. Even if you hated it, if you could plug your controller into your PC and give it a try, like Project Stream, I fully expected people to try it. And I thought that was an opportunity for Google. Not something they should be scared of. It's something they should, strive for. Like we've got a chance to win them over. We get them to try it that first day. And it seems like they really don't want that at all. No. We want Google people that know what the Google store is, to try this on day 1 through day 90. And we'll try to get the rest of them later.
And I think they could. So right now this is like their soft launch. So they could very well have another Stadia Connect right before base launches and try to build up the hype again. And like, hey, now you can play for free. Here's this game that's 50% off or whatever. I mean, who knows what they could do.
I'm going to let everyone else talk. Of course, I don't want to sit here and just keep going on, but I do want to say this. Again, this was their moment. They talked about it when they announced this. They said, come see us this summer. At I/O, they said, come see us in June. We came to see them in June, and now we're talking about maybe they'll tell us something later. Tired of the laters. Like, if this is the launch of a console, then treat it like a console. If another console company came and kind of gave us this with questions like this and whatnot, we'd be saying some of the same things. Like this whole, maybe they'll make it free. They're not. I don't think the free version will come until this foundation 3-month pass is over. So if it launches November, December, January, February is the first time I expect that, and it may not even be then, but that's the first time I expect it.
I just feel like every console launches this way, though. They've got the initial reveal that it's like a stupid little teaser. They barely tell us anything. And then the next time they show us, and then we get more information that's kind of trickled out over the months. We get to see what other games are coming at launch. It's never all at once. Like, they're never just like, oh, here's E3. Like, Xbox on Sunday is not going to show their next box and be like, oh, it comes out in 6 months. Here's everything.
You're right. But I still have a lot of questions over the basic offering. Is kind of the point I'm trying to make. Like the basic offering.
What question?
All right, I want to let everybody else. But I mean, did anybody else have any comments about just that? Like this being their moment to like maybe make a splash and win people over? Do you guys just feel like that's off base and it's the long game and they'll figure it out later?
I do. I feel like that's definitely the long game with this because, like Jared said, like people who weren't going to try Stadia, this wasn't going to make them try Stadia. Like I have a lot of friends who are like, I don't want to stream, so I'm just not that interested. I don't think there's anything that they could have done to really win people over. I think honestly what wins people over is when you actually go over your friend's house with a Founders Edition or when it actually launches the free version, people will try it. I don't think it matters that if it would have come in November or it comes in February. When it's available to try, the people who are kind of like, they'll try it. I don't think it matters if it comes in November, if it comes in April of next year. People are always going to have computers. People are always going to have a controller. They can always jump in. So I think this is definitely way more of a long play. I don't think anybody who's a founder of this is like, this is going to be my main way to play games right now. I think this is like, okay, this is going to be my One Plus or my Extra. And we'll see if it becomes the main thing that I play my games on, especially with your PS5 and your Xbox, whatever, coming out soon. I think this is their way of getting an early base ahead of that to be able to have people playing their stuff.
Okay. So maybe I'm just being too aggressive. I always want, not a mic drop moment, although those are a lot of fun. Just wanted Google. I mean, it's obvious, right? I don't feel like I'm wrong. They've marketed this approach, this time, they've picked this day to do this. They're talking to gamers, right? Mm-hmm. But it feels like their offering is to people that don't have games. Because to people that do have games, I don't think this offer is doing a whole lot for you. Because a lot of these games you already have, and you can already play them. And potentially in a few days, you can already stream them maybe. Like there's a lot here that I don't, if you're somebody who's owned a PlayStation for the last 5 years, I mean, based on what they said, why would you consider Stadia? That's my, like, it didn't, I don't feel like there's like a hard pitch. There's nothing that you can really get behind. Like the best thing about this service is that there is a free option for you to buy games, which I think is great for developers. They can continue to sell, and it's great to get people in. maybe somebody gives it a try. I think that's the best thing that came out of this. I don't think that's necessarily like good. I'm not really winning anybody over with that. I wanted something for them to win you over, to have a game that got people excited, to have something that got people excited, beyond the tech enthusiasts like us that just want to try it and stuff like that, So I don't know. Like maybe I was just too aggressive, but I kind of thought that they were going to be a little more ready, and I didn't see that.
Definitely. I mean, I get your concerns completely, but like Dev said, I think it is the long haul. Right now, they are talking to gamers, but they're talking to Google fans as well. And I think in the future, they're going to really start talking to the mass audience, especially when your PlayStation 5 and your Xbox, the next Xbox start to come out and they're $500. Google's just going to be like, hey, why spend $500 on this console when you can get your games on Stadia for free, or you just buy your game. You don't have to buy a console. You just start playing. So I think it's definitely a long haul, and they're going to keep pushing it, especially when they start coming out with ads on Google and ads on YouTube. There's going to be a lot of push, and I don't think they feel the need to just hit every single note. I mean, for their first Stadia Connect, I think they did a pretty good job. Like the first state of play was kind of meh. Like there was some cool games, but like format wise, it wasn't that great. The first Xbox one, I don't forget what they even call theirs. That wasn't like, it's like an hour long of people just talking and interviewing each other. Like I think
they eat pizza. They eat pizza on occasion. They order Pizza Hut.
I think they set a good precedent of what we can expect from Google when it comes to marketing and Stadia. And so this was definitely, yes, they were marketing to gamers, but they were marketing to Google fans, and they were marketing to early adopters. And I think they made that pretty clear.
Okay. Nathan, what do you think about all this shade I'm throwing?
So I think that what you need to remember, Donnie, is that this console, or whatever you want to call it, isn't really launching yet.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there.
This is that's
kind of the problem.
This is the paid beta period that we're looking at now in November. I mean, just being honest, being open there. That's really what this is going to be. That's what early adopters really have. Until they release their own first-party content, this console, quote-unquote, whatever you want to call it, isn't going to be launched. So we know they have their own studio. They're going to be developing their own content. So until that happens, you can't really, have it. Because what console in history has ever launched without a first-party title?
This is a great segue. They did announce some exclusives. The big one being Baldur's Gate. They opened up with Baldur's Gate, and it's exclusive to Stadia, but it's also on PC. When I say exclusive, I mean console exclusive, if you will. And I also believe, was it Guilt by Tequila, right? Yes. So they announced these two games. Baldur's Gate is a big title, and it means a lot to a lot of people. I'm going to argue here. I'm going to throw some shade. It means a lot to a lot of people that play on PC that I don't think are going to be interested in playing on Stadia. And I don't think it means a lot to non-PC players, to be quite honest with you. I don't think a whole lot of console players are like, I'm going to get Stadia to play Baldur's Gate. Also, Baldur's Gate didn't show us anything. It's basically just a confirmation that they're working on it. We got a CG trailer. We need any gameplay. We have no date. We have no expectation of it's coming. They didn't even give us a year. So, I mean, by all accounts, I don't think anybody's playing Baldur's Gate in 2020, to be quite honest with you.
I mean, how is that different from any other game that you see that comes out with a trailer? I mean, so?
Okay, pointing back to Nathan's thing, though, when you launch a console, typically you want to announce it and launch it with software that's appealing, and their big appealing game was that. I don't think many companies do that. Like, if we're looking at this as a console, nobody's like...
That was their big appealing game? You think so?
It was the one they led with. It was the one they kicked off the show with. It's their exclusive. No? I know there are other games that we care about more. I'm talking about their positioning of this game. I'm not saying I'm excited about Baldur's Gate. I'm never playing Baldur's Gate 3. I'm saying the way they presented it. This is their exclusive. They kicked off the show with it, so I think it means it's important. So these are the two games. Tequila, man, I really liked what I saw with this Jilt game. I thought it looked great, to be quite honest with you. Again, no release date. The last time I was excited about a Tequila game, it was Rime. Rime was terrible, and I waited 4 years to find out it was terrible. So, I mean, I'm not holding my breath with that one, to be quite honest with you. I'm just being real. And but they did show a bunch of games, right? We've got a whole list here. I'm not going to read them all. Let's just choose some highlights, man. We already talked about Destiny 2. They did The Division. They did Borderlands 3. Ghost Recon, The Crew, Wolfenstein, Rage 2, NBA 2K, Mortal Kombat. Like, these are games that we like, right? These are awesome games. These are games people have already bought.
Not necessarily. Hell yeah.
Some of them, most of them, the majority of them.
So you look at Doom Eternal, you look at Ghost Recon Breakpoint, you look at Wolfenstein Youngblood. Let's see, the Samurai Showdown game. You look at
Darksiders.
Borderlands 3, Darksiders. Those games are not out yet.
Thanks. You're right. Okay.
Those games are not out yet.
Got a new $40 expansion, so I mean that's almost a whole game in itself.
Right. It is the whole game.
Devil beating it before Stadia comes out.
Actually, no, I won't have beat it before Stadia comes out.
Hold off.
To be honest, God, true. No, it's just that I won't have the time to actually beat it. And there's no real beating Destiny. There's way too much crap to do.
Here's my stance on this: they didn't come out with some giant Google Stadia. What do they call it? Stadia Games and Entertainment, their new company. Yeah, They didn't come out with some exclusive first-party game, and I get that, but I think Google is and maybe it's the wrong approach, but I think they're coming at this as from a tech standpoint more than a game standpoint. And right now they're like, let's just get the biggest, most popular games on our platform. So maybe you have played them, maybe you haven't, but at least they're kind of setting a precedent that like, hey, we're going to get the big AAA games that are coming out. Like, you don't have to worry about developers not jumping on board with this because a lot of the big players are already jumping on board. And so maybe Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't appeal to a lot of people, but I think this also sets a precedent because there are some games that come out on PC and PC only, but now they might be PC and Stadia and never come to the traditional consoles. So I think there's a lot of precedents that they're setting here that they don't necessarily need first party yet, but that's definitely coming. And with this platform always getting better and growing, they can drop a first party game at any point in time. People can just jump in and play it and not have to buy a box.
Right.
So I don't think they need people to jump in November or February or even next November. People can jump in at any time and just play their game.
So Donnie, I have a question. What is the appeal of Stadia for you? Like, what makes you want to play it?
Thing that Jared just said. I just want to say that. It's nothing against Jared. I just don't like anything about what Jared just said. You're launching a console. You want people to be excited. You want them to come play it. He's like, they don't care when people come. They'll come eventually. Like, I hate that. I really do. It just doesn't, I don't know, like that logic doesn't.
But it's not a console. It's a platform. There's a total difference. They don't need to sell 1 million units to make profit on a box. They just need to sell software. That is their focus. And if they can sell software.
And I'm not seeing a whole lot. Okay, we're going to keep doing it, but I'm with you.
You just don't like it. I get it.
Bang. I wanted them to do something, be disruption, like do something and like exciting. And like I fully expected Google with all their resources to at least have a handful of indie projects that they've bought exclusivity to. Here's the thing. They got to do
projects. Do not show off the power of Stadia.
Devin, for the last 6 years, over 130 million people have bought consoles that they can play all these games on. Stadia's opportunity or challenge is to try to convince them to play it on Stadia versus something they can already play it on.
And they can still do that.
Next gen, like, well, you don't have to buy $500. Nobody's thinking about that right now in November. Nobody's thinking about that. Because right now in November, they can buy $60 and they can play Doom Eternal. They don't need a separate thing. And plus, as we mentioned in the very first episode, right? What did I say? Google has to find a way to convince people that streaming isn't so bad. Like, they're fighting that mindset. This isn't doing anything to change that, in my opinion.
I don't think there are some people that you will never convince because there are some people who still hold on to physical games and refuse to buy digital games.
Like, this isn't even try.
And I think they still have time.
I'm not predicting doom right now. I'm just evaluating off of what I heard and saw yesterday.
I get it, and I agree. I don't think what they showed is going to convince all of these streaming haters to jump on board.
I don't think it's going to convince anybody that owns a console to get on board, to be honest with you. Really. I mean, in all seriousness, and I was actually going to bring this up. Oh man, friend of the show, Spencer Stapleton. He had a tweet earlier that I thought was really good. Or at least it aligns with what I'm thinking people like him are thinking. He said, "I have no interest in Google Stadia." And he goes, "It's because they haven't given me much of a reason to do so. I can play all these games on consoles I already own." He's like, "I don't hate it. There's just no like. He's just not like what's the win? What's the sell for him? What is the advantage of him making the jump?"
You need to get on a game that would run amazingly better on the PC than it would on a console, so you can actually see what Stadia can do. Okay. When you can actually play, because that's why I say like the indie titles aren't really doing much. Like if you give me one of these little indie titles that can run on just about anything, compared to, let's say, like this is why I think launching with Destiny makes so much sense for with the power of what Stadia can do. When you can get a game,
gamers like look what we can do.
You don't need to buy a bajillion-dollar computer to do it. I think that is the appeal of Stadia, to be able to have an easy way to play a game in 4K HDR running at 60 frames per second pretty much flawlessly. If you can do that, then you can play anything, and there's no reason to play anywhere else. There's no reason to buy a $600 box except for maybe an exclusive.
Okay.
So that is where I think the appeal in Stadia lies, is the ability to have a PC-like gaming experience without having to update drivers, without having to have patches, without having to do all this stuff, and being able to have it anywhere. Okay. I don't think you're going to turn the masses of the people who are playing on consoles with anything that you are going to launch, anything they showed, until you actually have you have the founders playing, and they can start the word of mouth.
So show don't tell.
I think that's why we've brought it up before. They're in it for the long haul, because they can continually bring people in. And imagine next year, as these new boxes are coming out, and they're $500, $400, $600, however much they cost, and Google comes out with their first party game or a couple exclusives. But now they're saying if you get the Pro Edition, you can now stream at 8K. HDR at 120 frames per second. I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen in a year, but now they're like, you're probably going to get a better experience than you will on these other consoles, or without having to build a $900 PC.
Directly to that point, if I was up in Chicago the other day, and there was an advertisement for the Google Pixel 3 and an iPhone X. It said $1,000 for one, $300 for the other. They both have Google. So if they want to do an advertisement, they say, you want to play 4K 60? You can go pay $600 for this console, $400 for this console, or $120 or whatever, and play it here. I mean, that is powerful marketing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or they could just say free, just pay $60 for the game, play it on your phone, play it on your tablet, play it on your Chromebook at home. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are so many options. And Donnie, I totally get your point, and I agree with you that this soft launch was not like dropping the hammer and convincing all gamers to jump on board. But I don't think they were trying to, and I get that you're disappointed that it didn't happen. But I think for what they did a really good job, and they're just going to keep bringing on Stadia Connects, and every single time show more games, show better improvements to their network, everything. It's just going to keep getting better, hopefully, unless nobody buys it and it dies immediately.
I don't think that's going to happen. And again, I'm not predicting failure and doom. I wanted a little more content, something exclusive. I think exclusive cell systems, even if it's not the most powerful, breathtaking thing to prove the power of Stadia, at least giving a game like you can only play it if you play it here, it entices people to come try it.
And I get your point.
They can still do that. They can launch another Connect in July. They can launch another Connect.
Yeah, and I think
keep doing that.
Being a soft rollout, I anticipate that we will see something like that by the time the free version goes. By the time the free version goes live, I expect them to have a couple of exclusive something. I would have liked to have seen them. Like, again, I think they had all their eyes on, and that's another part of my point. Like, this was their moment. This was their moment to tell you what Stadia is all about, and I feel like a lot of people came away with more questions than answers, to be honest. They want to know, like, I still don't really know what Pro is. Is it Game Pass? Is it PlayStation Plus? They said these games keep getting added to it. How many games? Do games disappear? What type of games? Is it like a roadmap? Do we know? Like, is it my library as long as I subscribe? Like, I have a lot of questions about what the value of Pro is. Is it one game?
Other subs launched? Did we know exactly how many games were coming to Game Pass when they announced it? Did we know about that in Plus? No.
I can answer a majority of those questions. I don't know how many games will be there at the start, I don't know if games will be removed later on, but they confirmed that they will keep adding games to the library.
Yeah,
so it's not going to be
like it's a whole lot of maybe. It's like we don't know how many will be there when we get it. We don't know how many will be there by the end of the 3 months. We don't know how many will get a month.
But it's not going to be like, oh, you get to play this for a month, and the next month you get to play this. No, there's just going to be a bunch of games in a library, and then once you stop subscribing to Pro, you're no longer going to have access to them.
Sure, the Netflix of gaming.
Game. It's the Game Pass approach. You pay $10 a month, you get access to all these games. You stop paying for Game Pass, you no longer get access.
With Game Pass, you have 100 games. Whereas like PlayStation Plus is your ever-growing video game library, right? That's the thing they talk about. Like if you keep subscribing, eventually you'll just have hundreds and thousands of games.
But PlayStation Plus, if you stop subscribing to PlayStation Plus, you don't get those games anymore.
Fully aware.
So hold on a second. Let's look at precedent from Google's side. The closest thing I can think of from Google specifically is Google Music and Google's Music Store. So if you do the Google Music membership, you get access to all those songs that you can play and stream whenever you want. Or you could buy those songs, so you don't have to have the Google membership to play those songs.
Sure.
From the store. That's the closest analogy from the Google side that I can think of.
Yeah, but this is definitely not it's $10 and you play whatever you want. Like that is not the case.
No.
You could still have to buy the games after you pay for the Pro.
But here's the point I'm trying to make is that if you pay for the subscription and you continue to pay for that subscription for a year, right, for 12 months, theoretically, if they add games, they'll just keep adding them and you'll have that library.
That's what I think it is, and I agree with you. But the issue is theoretically.
Right.
After you do your big unveiling, and like there should be no theoretically. We should.
So you want to see?
We bought Pro. We bought it. We bought 3 months of Pro. We really don't know what that is. You don't.
You get Destiny 2, Donnie, the king of all games. You don't need anything else.
you don't need anything else.
I'm not even playing that thing. Come on, man.
You're gonna play it.
I was so let down when they said Destiny. I was like, this is the game we're launching our new console with. The new platform, whatever you want to call it.
I want to bring a point out. On the Google Store, if you go under Stadia, it says Stadia Pro. You get to buy games whenever you want. There will also be additional free games released regularly.
Is
it going to be 100 games?
For wanting to know, I feel like I'm being I'm almost being content. Like I want to know, what does regularly mean? Does it mean every quarter, every year, once a month, 2 a month? What does it mean?
I think we will know, but we just don't know yet.
And that's
it's like every other console announcement. You don't know everything out the gate. You get the trickle of information over time.
You guys are so excited. But I wanted to know. I want to know like what we can expect from Pro. I'm not telling you to tell me every game that's coming, but at least tell me what it is. Is it 1 game a month? Is it 2? Is it 5? Is it access to 20 games that will rotate in and out? We don't know. Like we don't know. And that's the whole thing. They spent half of their presentation talking about Pro. Now I get you're paying for the service and you're paying for 4K and all that. Like I get that, and of course they got to make money. I'm not expecting everything to be free, but like I thought, do games matter when you're selling a game system? Like games matter. Like tell me about the games,
Donnie. By the time October rolls around, we will know. They won't. Our cards haven't been charged yet. We haven't paid anything yet. So you haven't bought anything yet, Donnie. Simmer down.
They also showed a bunch of logos in addition to like the games they showed, and particularly they showed like Rockstar's logo. They didn't announce what's coming from Rockstar. they showed there's a lot of those in there. They showed a lot of logos. We have no idea what games are coming from them.
Rockstar don't know from Rockstar. We never know what's coming from them until they decide to show us.
Until they decide.
You know what would be great is if Red Dead Redemption 2 came to Stadia
before
so
PC.
You can play it on your PC, but not to PC.
That is. Actually, I think that's the reason, because I think Red Dead is probably the game, and it's probably going to be announced when the PC version is announced.
I want to bring out one more point before we move on from the.
Oh, we're not on time frame now. Now we're just off the rails. You bring up as many as you want.
I just wanted to say that I don't know if I fully expect it, but I'm hoping, and I think it's likely that with the Pro membership, you get first-party games included, kind of like Xbox does with Game Pass.
That would be nice. I think they have to have games first, and I think we're a ways off from that. But that would be nice. I'm with you there. I wanted more details. I'm not saying I want to know everything, but I wanted more details. And yeah, I would like to know everything. I always do. But it's just, this isn't like, again, it's not the shot heard across the world. Like they just didn't, they didn't do much for their cause, to be honest with you.
I honestly think if they showed more Donnie games, you would have a totally different outlook. If they had even more Donnie games that were already out, I think you'd have a different outlook. I think the fact that a lot of these games are games that you've already played, and a lot of them aren't games that you're really all that interested in.
I'm buying Darksiders as soon as I can. That's another why. All right, let's stop talking about us and let's start talking about John Doe, who owns an Xbox One and doesn't play a whole lot of games. What is the pitch to have him buy Darksiders Genesis on Stadia?
The pitch is you bought an Xbox that you don't actually play, so you spent $400 plus maybe.
They already have consoles. They've already made that purchase.
And I think that's
about to be obsolete.
I think that's why right now there isn't a huge incentive unless you want to be able to play at work or on any device. I think that's
I'm happy that I got one of you to admit that. That's all I'm trying to go for.
And I totally get that. And I never thought that this event was amazing and that everyone is going to jump on board. I think the real push is going to be, like I've mentioned a couple times already, when the next consoles launch and people don't want to buy them right away. They can still play all the latest, greatest games at the highest quality on Stadia. And they don't have to play this brand new game that was developed for the Xbox 2 on their Xbox One X and get a lesser experience. They can play it on Stadia with the full experience that you would get on the next Xbox or the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, I know. I think Stadia, as Stadia grows, I think its value grows. I'm with you there.
Mm-hmm.
And especially as you start to add games, like if you can get people adding a game a month and they can jump in and maybe they launch a game and you get that game for 1 month, but you stop, but you come back a few months later. Once somebody realizes that they've got 12 or 15 games in their Stadia account, if they just subscribe, like it grows. The longer it goes, the better it gets. And as more consoles come, I'm with you there. I'm with you all the way. I still believe in Stadia, but they're not alone anymore, right? Like we're expecting the unveiling of xCloud. We're expecting Sony just met and talked about their whole thing. That's kind of my point here is like they had this moment at E3. They had this moment to go first. They had this moment to really excite people and maybe at least get people considering Stadia. I don't think they did much for that. And now these people's favorite companies are about to follow up Stadia with their own thing.
I saw a lot of people who were open-minded about it, who weren't sure, but they were open-minded, excited, and liked what they saw, liked the potential. So they did convince somebody. Do you agree that they didn't like drop the hammer and make every gamer want to jump on board, unless you're the type of person who wants to be able to play on any screen?
Sure.
I also think most of those John Does who don't play games aren't paying that much attention.
Don't even know what Stadia is.
Don't even know what Stadia is.
It's true.
And they will eventually.
I had more people watching him today than the Stadia show did. So,
and then you probably have more people watching him during E3 than people watch E3, to be perfectly honest. It's ridiculous.
Like we brought up in the very first episode, once they start rolling out ads to YouTube, people are going to know about this.
Speaking of YouTube, where was YouTube? Is that going to be there in November? That was another thing that I had on my little short list. Like, we didn't hear anything about that at all. Like, that was complete. They didn't even talk about it.
Well, because they already talked about that at the initial reveal.
We still haven't seen it.
A streaming button. So that's going to tie directly into YouTube.
Yeah, but do you think it's going to be there in November? Because I don't.
Yeah, they're going to want people like, hey, come watch me stream Stadia games.
Okay. I don't. I don't think so.
I absolutely believe that'll be there in November because that's just going to be another way for them to easily market. Hey, come try this out. I honestly believe.
Well, I'm with you there, but I don't think. I really think this is a beta test. It's like soft launch might even be too much. I think that's why they're not talking about them.
That doesn't surprise me because Google is notorious for being a beta company. They love launching things in beta and keeping them in beta.
It's true. Nathan, you're just quiet on me, man. What's up?
There's just a lot of talking going on, so I'm just making sure I don't overtalk everybody. Anyway.
Engage.
This is a stopgap, right? These new consoles are coming out, and if you tell somebody that they want to play all I want to say is highly intelligent. Jared was saying earlier about they don't necessarily have to go out and buy the new $500 console or buy the new $500 graphics card for their computer or anything like that. They can just go and pay their $60 to play this game. That's all they have to do. That's who this is for. And as they're waiting to see, does PlayStation 5 have the exclusives they want to play? Does Xbox, whatever they call it, have the exclusives they want to play? While they're waiting for those reasons to be made to them, they can still play the third-party games that they want to play. They can probably play that next Call of Duty game or whatever on Stadia for up to for a couple of years while they're waiting to make their console purchase, or they're waiting for that price to drop because it's going to drop. That's the person who Stadia makes the most sense for, in my opinion, from that Joe gamer kind of mentality that just has that one console. It doesn't really, that they aren't us. And if you say to a parent, hey, I want to play this game and I don't have to invest $700 to do so, I just invest 10% of that to buy the game and they can play when they're online, fine.
Yep.
And as a parent, it's also a better way to limit the gaming time because you can turn off that network connection anytime you want.
No, we've been talking about that since the beginning. We're all with you there. Yeah, once you start talking about next consoles and weighing actual investments, streaming makes all kinds of sense. You can make a lot of monetary reasons for why you're doing that. Getting back to the YouTube point, not to omit Nathan's points, but I don't think that stuff's there. I think that's why we haven't seen it at all. I'm not even sure if it's not just, it might be really conceptual because we haven't seen a demo of it at all. We have not seen anybody open a YouTube video and click a link and launch a game.
Yeah, and well, they even said that more information is coming, so maybe that'll be closer. But if they really want people to see the power of Stadia, then having all these early founders streaming to YouTube would be a really good thing. Nathan made a good point of this being a stopgap, and that I would probably be a lot more on your side, Donnie, if this was next year when the other consoles are coming out and they came out with this, where we still had some questions and there's no exclusives and all this other stuff. But I think because they have time before all that, I think they still have time to get people on board and prove themselves.
Yeah, I don't think they've started talking to the people that Nathan was bringing up yet either. And I think that's why my opinions are the way they are, because I'm not in that group. Hopefully, eventually, they'll start talking and they'll start marketing. We'll see commercials for Stadia. I was actually kind of surprised that we didn't see anything from Apex or Fortnite or anything like that, because those games talk to those people and getting those people interested in something like that. I was actually kind of surprised we didn't see that. I expect to see it, and if we don't, that might be interesting. I don't know what to think if they can't get these games on board.
You know who's going to be the marketing for that? Is going to be the founders. That's what you're going to be doing. That's what all of the people who are going to be streaming are going to be doing. And there's no guarantee that you can't. It's possible that a lot of those games will actually come. EA hasn't said anything about what's going to be there, so it's very possible that right at launch you may get Apex, you may get Fortnite, you may get a lot of those games coming at launch because it's so far off.
I'm wondering how many of those announcements are being reserved for tomorrow and Sunday and Monday. I'm wondering if Watch Dogs is one of these games, and there are games that are coming that we're excited about that we just don't know about because they're about to be announced.
Yeah, we could have this time next week. We could have 25 trailers that all say Xbox One, Stadia, PlayStation 4,
100%.
Maybe some Switch.
I was thinking about that as I was trying to write up some notes. I'm not killing them just for this game lineup alone. I'm just saying here, there's not a whole lot doing it for me.
I wonder if they're pushing to get Fortnite, because that would be a big thing. I mean, you're talking about a free game on a free service. You don't need because it's a free game, but you still need a box. You need a Switch or a PlayStation or an Xbox or a PC that can run it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got Fortnite that half of the population of the world plays.
If you can sell somebody a controller and let them play Fortnite wherever they want, that's a sales pitch. I could sell that to people.
You don't even need a controller. It's hey,
true.
You got this crappy Dell at home that's 10
but
years
you
old.
You want to sell them a controller.
Of course. but they don't have
to already exist with Fortnite, though. I mean, you can play Fortnite on your phone.
Yeah, but those are still things that you need to have. I don't know. It's just another option, another place to play it.
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts about this little shindig?
No. I put Square Enix on the publisher list. It wasn't really confirmed, but because they have Final Fantasy 15 that was confirmed to come out for it.
Well,
so I assume Square.
The Tomb Raider trilogy is Square Enix too, so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, but they also had but they labeled Crystal Dynamics specifically, but then later on Final Fantasy 15 was announced to come. So I just put Square Enix.
Maybe the Marvel game comes.
Yeah. They got Crystal Dynamics. Very well could have it.
I've already committed to buying the thing, so I'll be there and I'm playing it. I will commit to buy one game. I will buy one full price game and give it a try, and hopefully it runs well and plays well and everything. We'll see where it goes from there. But
I think the Rockstar was the most unexpected or the most surprising, because you see 2K everywhere, and 2K owns Rockstar, but to specifically see Rockstar on there,
GTA 5, wherever you are, that's
like I said, I'm gonna laugh so hard if they release if they release Red Dead Redemption 2 on Stadia, so you can play on your PC, but not release it for PC.
yeah,
That'd be-
that'd be funny. But GTA 5, anywhere you are, that's a big deal. That's sell stuff. That's still a system seller.
Yeah.
How is GTA 5 still selling games? Like, who doesn't have it at this point?
I've got
The
2
fact
copies.
that- I've got 3.
That's how it keeps selling so much because we bought multiple copies.
Well, I mean, PlayStation is still selling 100,000 or like 250,000 units every month.
Yeah.
So that's another 250,000 people who could be buying, who had a PlayStation 3, now they got a PlayStation 4, and now they want GTA 5 again.
Can I make a suggestion for your game that you purchased?
No.
Destiny 2 is free.
Are you
No.
gonna buy, you have to buy Animal Crossing. You have to complete the bet and then we can talk about this.
Crossing. I'm so not excited for that. Doom Eternal on here, I think, would be the one for you.
I'm not getting Doom Eternal in here. Absolutely not.
Come on,
I want
4K.
Doom Eternal in
It's free.
all of its Ks and all of its performance glory, and I don't want any bandwidth or anything. Like Doom Eternal, I'm not taking a risk on. Doom Eternal is
Oh
going to run perfectly great natively on my Xbox One X. It's going to be beautiful.
Turn in your founder card now. You're done.
When does Doom Eternal launch?
I
I don't know yet.
So it's going to launch before November, though, right? And then like September,
Maybe.
October.
Maybe.
So that's the thing. I'll be done with it by the time this thing launches.
Well, see, and that's what
I'm
you
not
do.
waiting to buy Doom Eternal either. That's another thing. I'm not waiting to buy Doom Eternal at all.
Buy it on your One X, play it, the native experience, then buy it again and compare
Yeah.
it.
I'm not doing that either.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing that either.
So another developer, WB Games,
Sure.
but I didn't see any games
Batman Arkham Trilogy. The games
Yeah.
we beat last gen.
or whatever maybe Rockstar is working on, if they're working on a
Yeah.
WB game.
Rockstar game. Yeah.
So who knows? There was a few developers that we saw names, but we didn't see anything. Deep Silver, so maybe Shenmue 3.
I did want to say this before we left. I mean, they did notice that if you're pro, you get discounts, exclusive offers on games. I'd like to know what that is too. It's something else I'd like to know. And they probably don't know that. With Google Stadia being what it is in a streaming based console, if they're going to roll out this is their price model, they need to be aggressive, those discounts. In my opinion, if you really want this to take hold, every game should be a couple bucks cheaper than the going rate everywhere else, because you're not getting a local download of the game. And whether it works or not is irrelevant. There's perceived value. There's a value proposition there. And if you really want to try to get people to win people over, like I feel like this is wrong of me. I want to say I'm expecting Steam-like prices, and I don't think that's going to happen. But that's kind of my expectation when they say that. Like that in my mind, that's what I would hope for. Because again, what's the proposition? $60 Doom Eternal here or $60 Doom Eternal Stadia? I don't see much of a reason to go, oh yeah, I'm going to risk that to my internet. We've got robo voice on this call alone. Nathan dropped off for a few minutes. Like that's a risk that I'm taking buying it on Stadia until Stadia wins me over, right? Prove me wrong. Be like Devin. Prove me wrong. Maybe I'll play 100 hours of a game and it never dips. I don't think that's going to be the case.
I think comparing Hangouts and even YouTube, I don't think is very fair because they're going to be running on totally different things. I think Stadia is going to have its own dedicated server and AI network.
Yep.
YouTube doesn't run off of any of that. Hangouts definitely doesn't run off any of that.
Touche.
Yeah.
Touche.
I think you're the client hosting this call, so I'm going to blame all the robo on you. Peer-to-peer connect. I'm blaming you.
Internet speed almost as fast as Nathan's. I've proven that. So anyway, I think that does it for us. Anybody else have Nathan got anything? Anybody want to say anything about this stuff?
Here's my closing thoughts. So in a couple days, we'll see what Xbox has to bring on the cloud front. And this is a good entry point to the cloud gaming sphere, I think. They made a pretty compelling price point. They made it simple, and they've talked to us as the gamers at this point. And I think by the time the Super Bowl rolls around, you're going to see a Stadia commercial that's going to reach all the people, and they're all going to be wanting to see how much, how to play that next new game with all the Ks for only $60 as opposed to the $60 or $600 console, right?
Yeah.
So I think Microsoft on Sunday has an interesting opportunity now to rebut this cloud gaming salvo, we'll call it. So that way we can kind of see what they want to bring to the table, what their pricing structure is going to be, if they're going to wrap this into anything else, and really just kind of see how these two companies approach cloud gaming. Because, we're obviously founders, a lot of us on this call, of this product. And I know, Donnie, you and I are probably also going to check out what Xbox does.
Heck yeah.
So it's just going to be interesting to see what happens. And this is always good for us as gamers because this is how innovation happens.
Yep.
Maybe in the long term, we don't use the cloud for console gaming or whatever. Maybe we finally realize that promise of the cloud that they talked about for the original Crackdown 3 reveal a long time ago. And, it makes things better. He kind of uses it for that processing power and not necessarily for the whole package. So there's a lot of cool potential that could come out of this. And I'm really excited to see where it comes. Like you said, Stadia next year at this time is not going to be Stadia that we're talking about right now.
Yeah,
so
I believe it. I think by the time the base launches, I don't think these things are going to be all that I think the basics will be comparable, but we'll have all kinds of details and probably a lot more. We'll have new features and new things by the time. I think that base, that's the launch of Stadia. I don't think it's the first party content. It's the base. You can plug in a controller and play it. Stadia has launched. And I think it's going to be very different from what we heard about yesterday.
For all we know, Google's holding some of their cards until they see what Microsoft has.
And if you can pay Xbox $10 a month, same price to stream games you already own. I own 900 Xbox games. You know what I'm saying? They teed it up, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're holding back either. I wanted to bring that back. I'm still excited for Stadia and Google, and I would believe that. I would hope, actually. I would actually kind of hope that maybe they've got something reserved there that they didn't just. I hope that wasn't their everything. As I've already said, if that was their everything, we have more issues.
Yeah, I think ultimately what they've shown, I'm happy with so far. I think they've got room to grow. They've got room to improve. There's definitely a lot of potential, but I think they did a good job for what they've shown so far. It could have been a lot worse. Could have been better, but it can always be better. But it could have been so much worse, I feel like.
It was very simple, everybody easy to understand, and that price point is spot on. It is perfect. $10 will get a lot of people to try it. Whether they subscribe every month for the rest of their lives is a whole different story, but $10, you should try it. Everybody should try it. So, and I play heel a lot on this show. I am still very excited to try Stadia. That's why I got the bundle. That's why I wanted to pre-order the controller. I still want to see it because I believe in it. Because like I've said on every episode, I've tried it. It works. It does work. Yeah. So I'm excited. I want to bring my controller to work, and I want to play in my browser at work. That's what I want to do. I want to that'd be my new lunch break. Man, that's amazing. Plug some headphones in and just play a game. I guess Destiny. I don't know.
Donnie Switch just collects dust. Look here, sir. I'm gonna get you to enjoy Destiny. You can just play with friends. The gunplay is so great.
Just play the campaign. It's free.
I'm saying. This is a new campaign. It's a new campaign. There's so much campaign you haven't done.
I want to, as a designer and Google fanboy, I want to nerd out for just a couple seconds. Stadia Connect was beautiful. All the text and the way they introduced people was amazing. It was so googly, but it was so clean. The
production.
The production was amazing. And I can't wait to see more of that. Out of the gate, matching Nintendo and leaving PlayStation and Xbox in the dust as far as their video streams are concerned. And also,
I think they hit it. They hit that part of it out of the park so well that the next time they announce Stadia Connect, more people will be excited. Because the event, the show, was concise. It was packed full of details. We got a lot of things. It was a Nintendo Direct. And when they say Stadia Connect, I think that'll perk up ears again because it'll be like, man, that last time was pretty good. Yeah. So I'm spot on with you there.
It was gorgeous.
E3 is upon us. That's it for this month's episode of the Google Stadia Show. Thank you. Follow us on Twitter at the Stadia Podcast, and we will check you out next month, hopefully, after we hear what Xbox has got to get. Maybe next month's show will be a little compare and contrast.